I think it's important to recognize clergy in Canada because it really is a difficult job. It's a job that's based on self-sacrifice and service, and for most pastors, our heart is really to care for our congregation and our people, and it requires a great deal of sacrifice in our lives and our callings. I was thinking this morning about the Levites. When all the tribes of Israel were given an inheritance of land, the Levites were told they get God. They actually don't get an inheritance. But there's a set-apart nature to clergy, that the expectations of their life are different. They're judged more harshly for the way they teach and what they do and what they say. And it really is a thankless calling in a lot of ways. And it's a job that you can't just turn your brain off at the end of the day. You're with people, you're caring for people, you're walking with them, and you go home and you're thinking about it. In my own life, I find there's never enough time to do all the work that's before me. There's not enough time to pray enough and to study enough and to be with people enough. And so to set aside some time to recognize the work of a people who are dedicated to care for others is really special.
Why does our nation still need spiritual leaders?
That's a good question. Our nation seems like it's in a bit of chaos right now. You look around politically, ideologically, we're really divided. And in some ways it's nothing new. I think since the fall, humanity has always been like that. We're in this state of chaos, and the call of the Christian is to bring about the peace of heaven, the joy and the hope of heaven to a really chaotic and broken world. And as Christians, every one of us are meant to bring hope to the destitute and the hopeless, and we're meant to go to the highways and the byways and proclaim the gospel of redemption. And yet, we're called to go out as priests to the world that will hate us and that will reject us and persecute us. And so every one of us finds ourselves in whatever sphere we're in, whether it's finance or school or education or staying at home. We're meant to model this better way of living, but it's really hard. And so I think we need spiritual leaders and pastors because we all need people reminding us of the gospel. We all need people reminding us of the good news of Jesus. And so I think there's three main roles for pastors and spiritual leaders. It's that of proclamation, it's that of shepherding, and it's that of modeling. And so, as I said, we all need people who will proclaim the gospel to us day in and day out, to remind us of who we are in Christ, what we're called to do, to bring hope, to bring peace, and to bring the reality of heaven. We also need shepherds. I think of Psalm 23, that there are green pastures and still waters that we're led into. And so I think we all need to be continuously edified and nourished and brought into places of fruitfulness so we can become fully alive in who Christ has made us to be, and that we can be fully alive in our calling to the world. And lastly, modeling. We need someone to look to. We need to know what Christian life is meant to be. And I think spiritual leaders, they do that. We come out of the world of chaos, out of our workplaces and our homes, which can feel exhausting and frustrating, and we come into church on a Sunday, and the pastor can go, this is what life's all about. This is what it means to be fully alive in Jesus, and this is what it means to bring all of these truths from the Bible and from the gospel to the very workplaces and homes you find yourselves in. And so we need, every one of us, as pastors and as parishioners, we all need someone to look to. We all need someone to constantly remind us that there's more to life than what we're living, and that there is a life that's meant to be set apart and meant to be sold out entirely for God. And so spiritual leaders that do that in a self-sacrificing way is just as beautiful as it gets.